Why do some people believe that we, the people of planet Earth in general, or they themselves personally, have been or are being visited by aliens from outer space? From the perspective of the scientific worldview, such beliefs are at least a bit weird, and the goal of Anomalistic Psychology is to explain why people believe weird things, and in some cases report weird experiences related to those beliefs. In this series, I have been providing an overview of Anomalistic Psychology, mostly based on the book by French and Stone. In this video, I will be discussing beliefs and experiences involving aliens. My name is Jouni Vilkka, and this is my channel, TFF, Teacher from Finland. Please subscribe and click the thumbs up button. The acronym UFO means Unidentified Flying Object. Recently, some people have started using the acronym UAP from either Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena or Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. But even without the confusion with the latter acronym, I prefer the older and more widely known term UFO. Ufologists are people interested in UFOs who also usually believe at least some of the reports to be about alien spacecraft. Scientific skeptics do not accept that there is enough evidence for that claim at present. One problem with the term UFO is the idea that what is being observed is labeled a flying object, when most of such observations are actually about astronomical objects, especially the planet Venus, but also often the Moon. I have already previously briefly talked about how misidentifications may occur, but if you are especially interested in UFO sightings, you would probably find the website metapunk.org very useful. The astronomer J. Allen Hynek created a classification system for UFO experiences. A close encounter of the first kind is the most common type of experience. Most UFO sightings can be explained by the way our minds actively construct our perceptions and memory, making us mistake things like the light of a lighthouse in the mist or a planet in the sky for a flying object. There are, of course, also hoaxes, but there are far more honest misidentifications. These days, not just commercial airplanes, but also flying drones also account for some sightings. It is at least near impossible to remove interpretation from an observation. Because of our typically top-down processing of perception, we easily interpret a series of separate lights moving in the same direction as being part of the same object, explaining why sometimes people report seeing huge motherships in the sky. There are some cases where an ordinary explanation for a sighting is not known, but that does not mean we can jump to the conclusion that it's a genuine case of a real flying saucer visiting Earth. If we had enough evidence to justify that claim, it would be mind-blowing and worldview changing. I, for one, would welcome such news. A close encounter of the second kind involves some kind of physical evidence as well as the sighting. Photographs are the most common type of evidence for alien spacecraft. There are lots of hoaxes in this category. Even I made a fake UFO photo as a teenager. There is also a lot of overinterpretation of unclear images. Even before the current boom in AI images, it was getting difficult to distinguish photoshopped from authentic images, so I guess the work of weeding out the fakes is just getting more difficult. A close encounter of the third kind is finally a human having contact with an alien. An alien, or ET for extraterrestrial, is claimed to have met the person, usually the one making the claim, face to face. The descriptions of these ETs have been pretty fantastical, but also, in my opinion, without that much inventive imagination. These days, as far as I know, reports have gotten even more boring, mostly just talking about the grey ones. French and Stone write that sometimes claims about alien abductions have been called close encounters of the fourth kind. These are the stories of people being taken onto spaceships and for a cosmic ride. In some stories, the abductees were taken just to nearby planets, but others have described quick trips to other solar systems, even galaxies. These abduction stories also often involve sexual themes, as well as objects being implanted into the victims for some reason. Needless to say, all the objects that have been studied scientifically have been terrestrial without a hint of alien technology. Some stories about meeting ETs and even going on a trip with them may be dishonest and not based on real experiences, or only based on dreams and then exaggerated. But there are also ways someone could honestly have an experience as described, or remember such an experience. An important distinction, by the way. Just remember that honest doesn't mean accurate or correct. An obvious explanation, although perhaps at least close to being dishonest, almost certainly being at least intellectually dishonest, is an experience while under the influence of hallucinogenic drugs. Even if the experience felt real, one should be aware that they took the drugs, and that probably explains the experience. Another is sleep paralysis, which I already discussed earlier when explaining how brain phenomena can cause one to form weird beliefs. A person experiencing ordinary sleep paralysis, for example while almost falling asleep, can get scared from realizing their paralysis and feel a presence in the room, as is common in the situation. They may also simultaneously be falling to sleep and beginning to dream. Because stories of aliens are more common than succubi or night hags in current popular culture, they are pretty likely to have an experience of an alien, or several, appearing in the room and restricting their movement somehow. As the experience turns to full dream, it can then become a nightmare involving weird medical experiments. And all this can be rather convincing because it begins while partially awake. There are psychopathological reasons, namely schizophrenia, for belief in alien contact as well, but French and Stone make it clear that certainly the majority of people who believe in such things are not mentally ill. Some alleged abductees appear to have trouble sleeping, some suffer from loneliness or other unhappiness, and a significant number have suffered trauma in childhood. Another reason why some people believe they have had encounters with aliens is connected to mental health in that they have been in therapy for some unrelated reason, and as part of it underwent hypnosis, which then led to them creating very realistic but false memories. I discussed this phenomenon when explaining how our cognitive errors can lead us to believe weird things. It is also possible to create false memories by oneself without hypnosis. I have experienced something like this myself almost 30 years ago, although I was able to convince myself that the memory wasn't real, making it fade. Unlike many other memories I would much rather forget. This phenomenon of more or less accidentally creating false memories is called imagination inflation. I have finally come to the end of this series on Anomalistic Psychology. It is a part of my larger series, Introduction to Psychology. I hope this has been somewhat interesting and informative. I will continue on to more ordinary aspects of psychology in my next video, although I will also return to more weird stuff eventually. If you are interested in learning about things like psychology, philosophy, and other humanistic subjects, do consider subscribing to my channel. If you watched this far, I want to thank you for your time, and I hope to see you back on my channel soon. Bye for now. If you wish to support my channel, please click thumbs up, subscribe, and share my videos. Any comments on the videos would also be welcome.